What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Darren. I'm the BowTie Fragrance Guy. You guys know what I'm about by this time. I love looking good and smelling great. And if you're just like me and you're a person that loves to smell your best and look your best, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That way you don't miss out on future content and videos that I'll be releasing on this channel. Today's video we're going to talk about fragrances in my designer collection that I would personally give a 10 out of 10. These are fragrances that I personally enjoy, and of course I already know that you guys may have different fragrances on your 10 out of 10 list. That's perfectly fine, and that's what makes this hobby so great. We have different tastes. Sometimes we have similar tastes, but there are times, of course, again, where our taste and opinions on fragrances will differ, and that's perfectly fine. So if you guys want to, in the comment section down below, why don't you leave me what 10 of your fragrances will be? Maybe 5. I know sometimes it may take a long time to write out 10, so at least maybe 5 of your choice. What designer fragrances would you give a perfect 10 out of 10? As has become customary on my channel, I'm going to go ahead and start with my subscriber spotlight. So let's see who we have in the spotlight today. Subscriber spotlight today, we're going to put the spotlight on Michael Bullock. And Michael wrote, great video and I enjoyed it, and I have bond number 9 centerpiece for him, and I get good longevity and good projection. I'm going to try the other fragrances and have a blessed day. Michael, thank you so much for taking the time to comment on my video. As a matter of fact, I watch quite a few fragrance related videos, and I always seem to see Michael's name somewhere in the comments. So what I would say is that, Michael, we appreciate your support as a whole in the fragrance community, because it seems like every video that I watch, Michael has actually left a comment on that video. But that's cool, man. We love the love, we love the support, and because Michael, you're not here, I'm gonna give you 2 sprays in the air, my friend. Michael, that was some good stuff, and that one was for you. Okay guys, now that we've done the subscriber spotlight, let's go ahead and jump into the list. So if you want to know what 10 designer fragrances I rate a perfect 10 out of 10, you know the routine. Keep it locked right here. Okay guys, I'm back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked. Let's go ahead and jump right into this list. Now, I will say there were a few other fragrances that I have that are designers that could have made this list, but I could only do 10. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about notes and things of that nature. Just want to show you the 10 and give you a little bit of a reason why I chose the 10. So we're going to start with, from the house of Christian Dior, this is Dior Homme Intense. Dior Homme Intense. And I chose this one because to me it was kind of the originator of the whole Irish craze. But I love this fragrance, the way that I get that Irish, but I love the cacao note in here. It kind of gives off like a chocolatey type of accord when you combine the Irish and the cacao, but this is just an absolutely gorgeous scent. And again, when you can be a fragrance that kind of starts a trend, and to me this is kind of the fragrance that really made the note of Irish really popular, and you see it in a lot of fragrances. As a matter of fact, you're going to see it in a fragrance that's probably coming up next, but this is the first one to me in my journey that really, you know, introduced me to the note of Irish and made it such a prominent and distinguishable note in a fragrance. And like I said, just an absolute gem, a staple in a lot of people's collections. From the house of Christian Dior, this is Dior Homme Intense. As I just articulated, the next fragrance on this list is another fragrance that I chose that has a very prominent note of Iris. This is from the house of Prada, and this is Prada L'Homme. Now, although it does have, again, a very distinguishable Iris note in this, the reason I chose Prada L'Homme is because it's great in the springtime, but this fragrance is so strong and it performs so well, you really can wear this year round. And that's what I love about it, man. This is just a quality fragrance through and through. And the Prada L'Homme Intense is just as good. I mean, honestly, on my skin, And I mean, I don't know about everybody else, but on my skin, this fragrance lasts all day long. And when you can get a fragrance that has this kind of quality, that smells great, and it performs that well, it's definitely worthy of a 10 out of 10. So another fragrance that I would rate 10 out of 10 from the house of Prada is Prada L'Homme. There's some good stuff as well. All right, the next fragrance on the list, I know, I already hear some of the boo birds out there, but again, y'all know how I rock. I don't care what other people think about a fragrance. What I like is what I like, and I make no apologies about that. So the next fragrance on this list, any iteration of this fragrance could be on the list. I'm really starting to love the Parfum concentration, and that's why that's the one that I have that's represented right now from the house of Christian Dior. Again, we have DIOR Sauvage. This is DIOR Sauvage Parfum. Again, I love the EDP as well. I like the EDT as well, but you know, if I had to have a choice or make a choice, it would be the Parfum and the Eau de Parfum. But man, it is what it is, and it does what it does. Some people try to talk about the kind of shower gel vibe, but I think that's kind of been eradicated. That whole idea about shower gel after the EDT. The EDT did have a shower gel type vibe to it, but when they started adding a little bit more depth and darker notes to the EDP and now the Parfum, I mean, this is just, it is what it is, man. This fragrance is good. The average person, when you walk out there in the world, the average person that you come into contact with is gonna tell you that you smell good, because this is just a very mass appealing fragrance. And again, for some strange reason, a lot of people hold fragrances or give fragrances a bad rating when they're mass appealing. But especially on the designer side, that's what it's all about. But so anyway, won't spend too much time on that, but I love this stuff, and I would give it a definite 10 out of 10 from the house of Christian Dior. This is DIOR Sauvage Parfum. The next fragrance on the list, I've talked a lot about this fragrance. I've had it in my collection for a little over a year now. And man, honestly, this whole line to me is very well done. Very well done. All the fragrances that I put my nose on from this house, to me, the ones I put my nose on are bottle worthy. And this is from MAISON Margiela, the replica line, and this is Under the Lemon Trees. Again, you guys have seen it. I've done a full review, which I'll link somewhere around here. And it's just a fragrance that I really adore, because again, it puts me in a very relaxing mood. It smells great, and again, on my skin, I get great performance out of this fragrance. Also, it kind of is kind of nostalgic to me for a specific reason. My wife and I traveled to Charleston last April, spent some time there shopping and just really hanging out, and it reminds me of that time frame as well. So again, sometimes the scent memory can contribute as well to some degree, but outside of that, the performance, the scent, love everything about this one. And I would definitely give this one a 10 out of 10 as well. From the house of MAISON Margiela, from the replica line, this is Under the Lemon Tree. The next fragrance that I would include and give a 10 out of 10 is from the house of Chanel, and this is Bleu de Chanel Parfum. Again, just like I mentioned with DIOR Sauvage, any iteration of this fragrance would work. EDT, EDP, Parfum, but in that order, Parfum, EDP, EDT is what I personally prefer. But again, anyone would work if you have it in your collection. I rate it a 10 out of 10. This is what it is. It does what it does. I talked about this on one of my last videos. It's a Swiss Army knife. I personally like the woodier nature. It's a little bit more mature in the Parfum when you compare it to the EDT. So at the end of the day, this is the one that I would choose. But again, you know, I don't knock anybody for if they choose or like the EDT or the EDP a little bit better. It's cool. Either one, like I said, works. But this is definitely one that's a 10 out of 10. It's easy to tell sometimes a lot of these fragrances that, of course, would probably rate really high on a lot of people's lists because they sell a lot of these fragrances. And this is one that a lot of people really enjoy. I am included in that number. Definitely gets a 10 out of 10 to me from the house of Chanel. This is Bleu de Chanel Parfum. Next fragrance on my list, we're going right back to the house of Chanel. And this one is a staple in my summer fragrance rotation. And this is Chanel Allure Homme Edition Blanche. And of course, what I love about this one is the citrusy vanilla combination that you get with this. A lot of people have often said that this one smells like a lemon meringue pie. And again, I don't know if it actually smells like a lemon meringue pie, but I would say that they're saying that because of the sweetness that you get from the vanilla combined with the very bright lemony citrus opening of this fragrance. But I love it, man. This thing sparkles on my skin in the summertime. For a summer fragrance, it performs well. And of course, you know, above anything, this one smells fantastic. So I definitely give this one a 10 out of 10 from the house of Chanel. This is Chanel Allure Homme Edition Blanche. Next up, I've talked about this fragrance a lot on my channel, and I'm not going to belabor the time with going through a whole bunch of talking about this one. But from the house of Tom Ford, we have Tom Ford Noir Extreme. Tom Ford Noir Extreme. Florals and coffee. That's what you get with this. And I always say that coffee gives it a very, this kind of nutty vibe. Because there's different varieties of coffee that you can have. This one is pistachio, so that's where that comes from. But man, this stuff is so good, man. I mean, you talk about sexy, compliment magnet. You know, this may not be the best performer, but for what it's supposed to do, and that's those close encounter situations, it is perfect for that. And so I definitely give this a 10 out of 10 because it's one of my absolute favorite designer fragrances of all time. From the house of Tom Ford, this is Noir Extreme. The next fragrance on my list that I would include as a 10 out of 10 is from the house of Mugler, and this is Pure Havane. I go back and forth between this and Pure Malt. I actually like quite a few fragrances from this whole line, but this just continues to be my favorite. This one reminds me of when I really got heavy into collecting fragrances. I mean, I've always loved fragrances. I've always had a few fragrances in my fragrance wardrobe. I used to always keep a pretty nice rotation, but when I really got heavy into collecting, this reminds me of that era of time. And I love it so much because that cherry tobacco vibe that you get with this, it's just magic. This is magic, man. I love this scent. I can't get enough of it. It's a 10 out of 10. This is one of the fragrances that I will always have in my collection, always. As soon as I run out of this bottle, I will be ordering another one. So it definitely gets a 10 out of 10 in my book. From the house of Mugler, this is Pure Havane. The next fragrance on my list, I haven't talked a lot about this fragrance, but man, the more I sample it, the more I wear it, I don't know, it just kind of gets lost in the shuffle sometimes as it relates to talking about a fragrance, but man, it's a 10 out of 10. And this is from the house of PRADA, and this is PRADA Luna Rossa Black. I know we talk a lot about carbon. We hear a lot about carbon. I talk about carbon a lot. But honestly, in that whole Luna Rossa line, this is the star. This is the star. It's so nice. And the star player in this is amber. This fragrance is sweet, but it has a lot of depth to it. Such a mass appealing fragrance. And again, when you talk about performance, this one gives great performance on my skin. You can smell the DNA of the Luna Rossa line here, but again, that amber note in this just does something different. Takes that whole DNA to the next level because it gives us this very, very rich and warm and inviting and sexy kind of sex appeal and sexy vibe that you get with the addition of the amber. So, man, this stuff smells good, man. Again, I don't talk about it as much, but please don't sleep on this one. This is a 10 out of 10 in my book from the house of PRADA. This is PRADA Luna Rossa Black. And last but not least, we're going back to another black bottle. This one this time comes from Tom Ford, and this is Black Orchid. Again, if you've been following my channel for any amount of time, you know that I talk about this one often as well, because again, this one just works so well on my skin, and this is a very unique scent DNA. I personally never smelled anything like this. But this is, again, a fragrance that performs extremely well on my skin. It's a very unique scent DNA that I get with this, because you have floral notes in this like ylang-ylang, but then you have like dark truffle in this fragrance as well. Tonka bean. This is just an absolutely gorgeous fragrance. It's sexy. It performs well. Honestly, you can wear this, almost wear this year round. I would go easy on the trigger in the summertime, but summer evenings out, I mean, again, checks all the boxes. Checks all the boxes for me. I love this stuff. I think I'm going to try to go and up my game and go with the EDP. This is the EDT. When I first smelled the EDP, it was when I was early in my fragrance journey, and it was a little too strong. But I think now, the way that my palate has changed, I would enjoy the EDP as well. So I think I'm going to pick up the EDP as well. But anyway, this is the EDT from the House of Tom Ford. This is Black Orchid. Okay guys, that's my time. Thank you so much for taking the time out to watch this video on 10 fragrances, designer fragrances in my collection that I would personally give a perfect 10 out of 10. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share these videos out to other people that you think could use this information or find it useful or beneficial, because I'm your guy, the BowTie Fragrance Guy. I enjoy looking good and smelling amazing. So until next time guys, keep looking good and keep smelling even better, because your boy's gonna catch you on the flip side. Peace.